Yes, Jah people, this is Michael Shemai representing. I will say, Hail the Lion voice, saying it is time for the lions and the lionesses to tell their own story. King David killed Goliath with a stone, we original dread.
The time has come for the lioness to tell her own story.
Right.
But
Well, before you get to crack,
yeah.
angel dust.
Okay.
So we got
the Love Boat.
Your angel dust was actually it got the name from actually the Hell's Angels.
Okay.
And it was a pharmaceutically produced drug, right here in this country. It didn't come outside of the country. It was a synthetic. All right. So anyway, that created a lot of hostility in the DC area. People know the history of Rayful Edmond and know the history of a lot of people, but the initial angel dust epidemic was deadly to the minds of our young brothers and sisters. It was also creating war. Fast forward, after the angel dust came the crack epidemic. When people were doing, on a high level, they were doing cocaine, and they had to figure out a way how to, cut it and make crack out of it and put it in the Black community. And of course, you can study, and you just do the Google, you can find out about all of the stuff that happened across the country. But here in DC, crack became a big issue. And then we fast forward to Rayful Edmond and a lot of people.
Yes.
So what we need to understand is it's a drug. And right now, even on the continent, they got all kinds of drugs. It was a synthetic drug designed to kill us and dumb us down. And so that's why you see a lot of the gunplay that's going on in the streets of DC and all Chicago, Chirac, all over the place. It's because they bought in drugs and actually dropped them in the community. And I know what I'm talking about because I did get caught up in the street life myself.
The year is 1892, and the land of Ethiopia has been experiencing 4 years of terrible famine and drought. They call it the Kikuken, or the evil days. At least 1/3 of the human population and 90% of the cattle have died. The hyenas have feasted on so many carcasses that they have become overweight and barely able to move. Just when the people could take no more of the evil days, a woman named Wasiro Yeshimabe is giving birth in a place called Urgersa Gora. This is her 9th attempt to bring forth new life. Her previous 8 attempts only resulted in deaths. Will this child live? Thankfully, a healthy baby boy is born. His first cries are drowned by thunder and lightning flashes across the night sky. The heavens open up and torrential rain starts to fall. Ethiopia's drought is over, and the baby boy is given the name Jawara, meaning one to be feared or respected. Jawara's father, Ras Makonnen, is a very important man in 1892 Ethiopia. Although he is overjoyed at the birth of his newborn son, he cannot spend much time with him. Ras Makonnen is the governor of Harar and must get back to the famous walled city to deal with its affairs. Furthermore, he is the foreign minister of Ethiopia, and having traveled to different places in Europe, he is very aware of the material and military advances they have made and the looming threats they pose to his country. Ras Makonnen knows that the majority of Ethiopians have no idea what is coming, and that he has to work that much harder to secure the realm. Jawara would grow up to become the legendary emperor, Haile Selassie I. To understand his journey, we must first understand the Ethiopia that he was inheriting, and what it was like when he was born in 1892. Get your copy of Kwesi Bansu's book, Haile Selassie I, Ethiopia, Volume 1, The Rise of the Priestly Warrior Kings, and increase your knowledge about the history, politics, and culture of Ethiopia in 1892, and how it connects to the rest of African and world history at the time. Haile Selassie I, Ethiopia, Volume 1 is available for purchase at www.bookmanexpress.pub. Please visit for more information.
Lion Pride, make sure when you come in, you comment, let us know where you're watching from. Tonight we have one of those guests. Get your pen and paper because the information is coming fast, it's coming furious. This elder, again, living archive. He's lived it all around the world. This elder has been on Black people business. This one is going to be one of those historic episodes. So, Lion Pride around the world. This is one of my elders too. Let me just make that clear. This is one of my elders that I'm accountable to. I know anytime I step out, I gotta be right, because these elders expect a lot from I and I. You know what I mean? And it makes I proud to know that I could learn from an elder of this stature. So welcome, Lion Pride, none other than Baba Senghor Baye. Blessing, Baba.
Yes, big up, big up, big up, big up, Ras Kwasi and the Lions Voice Network. Here to share all the Blacktricity I can, my brother.
And he has these unique words, some Blacktricity. So you can see the custom here on the Lion Voice Network. When we have guests, we ask them to step into our heretical time machine and take us back to the moment of your birth. We want to hear your origin story. You know, where were you born and what was your journey to consciousness?
Yes, I was born here in Banneker City, Washington, D.C., 1951. I was actually born at home. I am breastfed, baby. So as I grew up, unfortunately, I had a defect. I had a heart issue.
Wow.
So by the time I got 12, they had discovered how to do open heart surgery. By the time I got 14, I had open heart surgery.
Wow.
But thanks to my moms and my family, you know, everything went well. And I haven't had no heart issues since. So the blessings of the Most High and the ancestors guided me into life. I grew up in the miseducated public school system of Banneker City. I was a young man who loved to hang out in the street. But fortunately, I had my family guidance, but I met a lot of brothers and sisters who kept me on the straight and narrow. So I didn't fall into the traps of a lot of stuff in the street. But I became a poet. I started to write as I started coming into consciousness as a young man. Of course, I was at the March on Washington that Dr. King did at 11 and a half years of age.
Oh,
My
wow.
stepfather took me there, and I got to see and experience that. Powerful man, powerful spiritual brother, Dr. King.
So you heard the famous speech. They only talk about one part of that speech, but that was a very powerful speech. Do you remember as an 11-year-old what he was talking about, or were you just caught up in the moment?
No, actually, I was caught up in the moment. But years later, I got to study. I got to really check out. I heard a lot of people. I saw a lot of things, and I saw the connection. Most people don't know Dr. King was a Pan-Africanist in his last 3 or 4 years in life. Not only did he travel to Africa, not only did he hail up people like Marcus Garvey, but he practiced what he preached. And what he said in that speech was he challenged the world to understand that we had not got our check. We got a blank check from this country. So that was one major thing. But the most important thing was his spirit power. And it resonated so at the Lincoln Memorial. So as I grew up, I was blessed by, you know, I'm the youngest in my generation on both sides of my family. So I had a strong, I call them a nationalist family. You know, at that time, they might not have taken on that slogan, but I learned a lot from both sides of my family, father's and mother's side. They were actually nationalists. And actually, a lot of my brothers and my brother, big brother, and my cousins who are older than me to this day, they're still with us. Some have gone before us, but most are still with us. They still are very focused on what needs to be done. So as I grew up in the DC area and came through the public schools, and of course I went on to UDC for a little while, but growing up, you see this hat I got on, this happened to be the 100-year of Malcolm X. I ran into Malcolm when I was in high school. I went to a Bell Vocational High School for all men. If I had went to another one, I might not have got out because I was the loving of the ladies. But I went to an all-male school and a vocational school.
Where in the city was that school?
Hyatt Place. It used to be Bell, right at Hyatt Place, in between Irving and Park Road.
Okay.
And that was a school for all males. It was a vocational high school like Phelps. Now it's a different type school now, but it was all for males.
And that's
And
Northwest.
Northwest, right?
Okay,
Exactly.
okay.
And you know, during the riots, you know, after King, we jumped out of school and tore 14th Street up. You know what I mean? Came and bought stuff, put it in our lockers, and of course they did a search the next day. It took a lot. Well, anyway, that I don't want to get too off the course, but I had all my lumps and bumps because I was an open heart surgery patient. I was an athlete, great ball player, basketball and football, but I couldn't play on the varsity because they were scared something may happen to me.
Oh, okay.
So that's okay. I played recreationally and I had a good time growing up. And I had the blessings, like I say, of a guidance of a mother who was just a tremendous patriot to the family. And she was very serious about me staying on the straight and narrow. Moving forward, I started coming into consciousness, man. I mean, I had some great teachers there at Bell that were very focused on what was going on with Malcolm, what was going on with King. So I was able to learn a lot. I read about Marcus Garvey even in high school. I didn't have any idea because I read Malcolm. That's how I heard about Garvey.
Yeah.
But I had no idea that as years progressed, after coming through the supporting the AAPRP in the African Liberation Days, supporting the provincial governor of the Republic of New Africa, and studying, I came in to know Brother Oduno Tariq, who's an elder now.
Yes.
And he was on the radio with Brother Hodari Ali, another ancestor now. And they had the Honorable Charles L. James, who was a student of Marcus Garvey on the airways of WPFW. And I heard him and I was just blown away. Right away, I wrote them a letter telling them I knew my so-called native indigenous history, but I'm an African and I want to be a part. So at that point, 1979, we had our own history club here where Brother Oduno, myself, and a lot of ancestors, Brother William Henry Jackson Baye's an ancestor now, Dari Ali, Brother Vince Godwin, all of them are ancestors now. We had what was called our own history club, and we were moving to bring the Garvey movement to D.C., but we wanted to do it by inclusive studying our own history.
Okay.
So we had our own history club. But anyway, when I heard Honorable Charles L. James, I was sold on Garvey. I began reading more because Malcolm had turned me on to the powers of Garvey, because both Malcolm's parents were, you know, Garveyites.
Yes.
So I started reading more. As I said, I was a poet, and I started writing and I started moving. And we had brothers who went to Vietnam, and of course I had the open heart surgery. I didn't go into the so-called war, but I got to hook up with two powerful brothers, and we started a group, and this was in the 70s, called Stop America from Eating the Young. Safety. Acronym SAFETY, Stop America, because we knew America eats its young and pacifies aged ones. We knew that. They came home from the Nam. They taught me a lot of things. Taught me how to break down, you know, weapons and go to the range. And you know, we were what you call just like the Panthers, but we were our own cadre, and we were Safety Incorporated. So we had our own principles and things. So anyway, Stop America from Eating the Young grew, and to keep it short, later, because people were a little concerned about the Stop America part, so we started to keep the acronyms and change it to Sound Action for Enlightening the Young.
Okay.
Which is what we were about. That's what we were about. We had a big house, we call it the Pyramid, with 12 fireplaces in it, 6 of them open down on 16th Street, right around the corner from Pride and around the corner from Rap Incorporated.
Okay.
But we were Safety Incorporated, a nonprofit tax-exempt institution. Now that group still exists, but it has evolved and changed its name, and now it's called Medisage Incorporated, where we have a 135-acre estate in South Carolina, where the president of that group, Brother Ronald Abdullah, is now a Swami. He has that property. So even though Safety is no longer in existence, we turned over the corporation to him, and he set it up as Medisage, and that's short for Healing Wisdom. So that's
did you ever get a chance to meet Stokely Carmichael and some of the giants that were here in the city?
I met Kwame Ture. That's the other thing about being here. That's how I met you too, at Howard University, and yes, and I got to vibe with him. In fact, in the 80s, when the elders of Rastafari came up from Jamaica with Muda Baruka, and you know who I'm talking about, Ross Iris, Sam Brown, Pito, Ross Marcus, and Bubbles, all of them came up. And me and Jackson Bay, of course, Muda Baruka was there too. We were able to go into Howard University and look at the original Bible.
Yes.
Of Selassie, right? And
yes.
So the reason I say that is because Stokely Kwame Ture and the Honorable Charles L. James, my teacher, who was the President General of the UNIA, Kwame Ture invited him to the stage.
Okay.
And so a lot of people think, well, I'm in that group, that we were all one. Regardless whether it was Rastafari or whether AAPRP or the UNIA or the PG, all of us were really one. And those Malcolm X Day, the days in Malcolm X Park with African Liberation Day were on. Of course, that was all moved on. But I did get to meet Kwame Ture, talk to him on many, many occasions, and was very inspired by him. Coming back to my life.
Yes.
As I progressed in the 80s, meeting the rosters, of course,
Stick a pin. Before you get there, the crack epidemic, because I want people to understand that DC at one point was called the murder capital.
Yes.
Of the country. There was the crack epidemic, the war on black people.
Yes.
The COINTELPRO hit the city hard. Give people a description, because I came at the tail end of that.
Right.
But you lived through it.
Before you get to crack,
yeah.
Angel Dust.
Okay.
So we got
the Love Boat.
Your Angel Dust was actually, it got the name from actually the Hells Angels.
Okay.
And it was a pharmaceutically produced drug, right here in this country. It didn't come outside of the country. It was a synthetic. All right. So anyway, that created a lot of hostility in the DC area. People know the history of Rayful Edmond and know the history of a lot of people, but the initial Angel Dust epidemic was deadly to the minds of our young brothers and sisters. It was also creating war. Fast forward, after the Angel Dust came the crack epidemic. When people were doing, on a high level, they were doing cocaine, and they had to figure out a way how to, cut it and make crack out of it and put it in the black community. And of course, you can study, and you just do the Google, you can find out about all of the stuff that happened across the country. But here in DC, crack became a big, big issue. And then we fast forward to Rayful Edmond and a lot of people. Yes. So what we need to understand is it's a drug. And right now, even on the continent, they got all kinds of drugs. It was a synthetic drug designed to kill us and dumb us down. And so that's why you see a lot of the gunplay that's going on in the streets of DC and all Chicago, Chirac, all over the place. It's because they bought in drugs and actually dropped them in the community. And I know what I'm talking about because I did get caught up in the street life myself. So I was out there at a certain point in time. I got pulled back from it, but I knew what was going on. I wasn't getting caught up with the crack thing because I saw it was a deadly thing like Angel Dust.
Yes, yes.
Meaning it didn't only kill you, it will poison your brain, your spirit, and you will kill anybody. You become an animalistic kind of person. And that's how the streets of DC was going through all stuff.
Yeah. I'm a Gideon. Cataclysmic forces. Good over evil. Yeah, for the ghetto youth. Worldwide. I see the youths nowadays, they growing up. Wanna know the truth, they wanna know what's up. They got no fear now, they'll call you bluff. They asking questions cause they had enough. Why? Some gone astray cause times is tough. Some walk with the machine, ready to bust. I'ma give you that things get dangerous. Down in the ghetto, things get dangerous. On the battlefield, things get dangerous. Them carry RPG, M16. Got a problem to wipe out your whole team. For American dream, them get scandalous. Them put us into the ghetto, try abandon us. Cause we the remnant of the first sons of Kush. Warrior tribes, we not the ones to push. Just look into them history, see we rebellious. That's cause them systems so unjust. Take the shackles and chains, change them to handcuffs. Release your physical frame, them want your brain. Them a vampire looking for blood to drain. Highly Selassie come and break every chain. Bob Marley tell them, now we tell them again, yo. We tell them this ain't a game, but this a Armageddon, you got to mentally train. Yeah, I tell them this ain't a game, or this is heaven on earth, or go burn in the flames. Yeah, I tell them this ain't a game, I say I gotta play your hate, cause some things gotta change. I tell them this ain't a game, or this a time for African people to rise. I tell them, earthquake, hurricane, tornado, the wind blows and bring the rains. I got the whole west coast in flames, melt the Arctic poles and flood the seas. Hurricane force winds blow down the trees, whole earth feel the pain when the bombs release. Read your psalms, release David prophecies. Marcus Garvey said look to the east. Rastafari's the prince of peace, and Haile Selassie I come conquer the beast. Yo, they trap the youths with them luxuries to get the ladies. Gotta drive Mercedes, people killing babies, try to keep us down with AIDS. We descended from kings, now we surround with plague. Man, I kill them brother man to drive the Escalades. I can't stand Babylon and all the mess they made. Teach the youths that them best when them rest in the grave. Wolf trick the lion, got the lion a shade. Can't reach Mount Zion unless you learn to behave. Got to stand firm cause these is perilous days. I tell them, we tell them this ain't a game, but this a Armageddon, you got to mentally train. Yeah, I tell them this ain't a game, or this is heaven on earth, or go burn in the flames. Yeah, I tell them this ain't a game, I say I gotta play your hate, cause some things gotta change. I tell them this ain't a game, or this a time for African people to rise. I tell them, hey yo, I gotta play your hate, I gotta tell these players now's not the time to play.